Future Dana here. We're trying to reach 10,000 subscribers, and you can help us out by sharing the channel and clicking the subscribe button. And when we reach 10,000, we're going to do a giveaway. So if you want to know what that's about, help us out. Hi, Dana here. Welcome to Solar and Create. I'm glad you joined us today. And if you like what you see, be sure you click that subscribe button and the bell notification so you get notified when we upload a new video. And if you want to support us in other ways, we have a Patreon page with multiple levels, and I do post bonus content and patterns on my Patreon site. And then also on my Etsy, I have sewing kits for a lot of the tutorials here on the channel. So today's project is one preparing for the holidays, and it is dual purpose. It is a placemat with a pocket for your silverware right here, and it's one side I've done in fall, and the reverse side I've done for Christmas. So it's great for a space saver, and it also does 2 holidays. So let's get started. For today's project, the reversible placemat with a pocket for your silverware, you're going to need the following supplies. You're going to need 2 main body fabrics. I'm going to put these to the side, and I chose one side to be fall and one side to be Christmas, and those main body sizes are 12 inches by 13 inches, and I'll put all the sizes in the description box. Then you'll also need your pockets, and you'll have a pocket on each side. So I have one that coordinates with my Christmas, and of course one that coordinates with my fall. But I also tied in all my fabrics together by using the green on both sides. And those pocket backs are 5 inches by 12 inches. And then your pocket that you'll fold is 5 inches by 14 inches. And you'll also need interfacing for each of your pockets. And you'll need fusible interfacing, and it needs to be the 5 inches by 12 inches. And if you make a set of these, would you leave a comment below on what fabrics you chose? Did you choose holiday fabrics, fall and Christmas, or did you choose everyday plus a holiday? Just leave a comment so we can all share in everybody's ideas. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to take and we're going to fuse our interfacing to our pocket back for both of them. And your fusible interfacing, you can kind of see it may be a little hard on camera, but there's little bumps, and that is the glue. So the bumpy side goes to the back side of your fabric. And then to fuse it, you just take a hot iron, and I like to press it and count to about 3 or 4, maybe 5. And as you can see, it's changing because that glue is melting. And the interfacing gives that pocket a little more structure or body, because that's where all your weight's going to be. So you want it to be a little more structured. And you don't have to press hard, you just have to kind of leave it, and you're pressing and then lifting the iron. And then at the end, we'll go back and forth against it. And you want to make sure you get those edges really well. And then I like to flip mine over and then just press it from the front. And I did get a little bit of a crease right there. So when I put mine together, if I can't get that pressed out, a lot of times you can just take your iron and just kind of run it down there. And it looks like it came out. If it hadn't, then I would have just turned that fabric towards the inside of my pocket, and it would have been fine. So now I've fused it. I've already fused this one. Then the next thing I'm going to do is take my pockets, fold them in half with the right side out, and I'm going to press especially this fold up here. So I'm going to do that for both of my pockets. So again, it's right side out. I folded it in half, and I'm just pressing that folded edge. So when we go to the machine, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to stitch across the top of both of our pockets to reinforce it. And then we're going to baste our pockets on top of our pocket back in place. So let's go to the machine. Now we're going to stitch across this folded edge, and I am using a contrasting thread. I'm using a light gray so you can see it on camera, but if I were doing this for my home, I would probably make it match my pocket fabric color. And I'm using the inside edge of my foot because I want this to be a very narrow seam. So I'm just going to do the first pocket. And then to conserve thread, I'm just going to put my second pocket up there, line it up, not leave too much space in between, and just keep going. Next, I'm going to take my pockets and baste them in place so they don't shift on me to my pocket back. So I'm just going to line up the edges here at the bottom. And I'm going to put a couple of clips just on each side so they don't shift on me. And I'm going to do the same thing with this one. And then to baste that, again, I'm going to use the inside edge of my foot so that this is a very narrow seam, so that when I come back and put my project together and use the outside edge, you won't see this stitching at all. And I'm starting right here at the top of my pocket, and I'm going all the way around to the other side. When I get to the bottom, I'm just going to leave my needle down, lift and turn, making sure I line it back up with that inside edge and keep going. I'm going to do my other pocket, and then I'll meet you back at the mat. Now we're going to begin to assemble our front and body units. So the main thing is, remember your main body is 13 inches by 12 inches. So you want to make sure you rotate that to where it is on the 12-inch side. And the easiest way to do that is just line it up, and if you don't have anything left, then you've got it going the right direction. I am going to put my silverware pocket on the right side of each of my units. When I looked it up on the internet, if you had rolled silverware all together, that's where it said you typically put it, but it doesn't have any hard fast rules. So if you wanted to put yours on the left side, you certainly could. I'm going to put mine on the right side. So you just take your pocket unit that you just put together, put right sides together, and then clip it so you can sew it. And be sure it's on the side that you want it, the right side, and that the right side of the fabrics are together, or the pretty sides are together. And you're going to do that with both of your units. And when we go to the machine, we're just going to stitch down this one side to secure this and make one full unit. So let's go to the machine. Now that we're putting our unit project together, we want to be sure that we use the outside edge of our foot so we have that full 1/4 inch seam allowance. That way when we get down here to where our basting is, you won't see that in the finished project. So we're going to line it up with the outside edge and go from the top to the bottom. And again, to conserve a little bit of thread and a little time, I'm just going to place my second one up there, lift my presser foot slightly, get it in place, and just keep stitching. Now we'll go back to the mat for the next step. Now we have our two main units together, and we're ready to start putting the whole thing together. But before I do that, I want to open up this seam, and I want to press it flat. And the reason for that, turn it this way. The reason for that is so that when my placemat is laying down, there's not a lot of bulk here. If I left this seam and just folded it to one direction, there would be kind of a bump in that area when my placemat was put together. So I'm going to open up that seam allowance, press it nice and flat, and I'm going to do that for both pieces. Now we're ready to put the front and the back together. And I just want to make sure before I start doing that that seam allowance is open. And I think I'm going to iron that right down the front too, just to make sure it lays nice and flat. And let me check this one. All right. Now the only thing you want to be sure you watch is that you put your pocket tops at the top, not turn the other way. So when this is my Christmas side, this is my fall side, I'm going to put right sides to right side, lining up my edges. And then I'm going to do one more peek. So this is my pocket top. This is my pocket top. So I make sure I got things going the right direction. I'm going to line up my edges really well. And I have put right sides together, or pretty side to pretty side. And then right down here at the bottom is where we're going to leave our opening to turn. So I'm going to do my red and green clip method. I'm going to put my red clip where I'm going to stop my stitching and my green clip where I'm going to start. Because we're going to start here and stitch all the way around, stopping at our red. And you don't need a real wide opening. We are going to stitch it on the machine closed, but it doesn't need to be real wide because this is a pretty flexible project. Then I'm going to take clips, and I like to do 2 at the bottom and then go up here and put a couple at the top and then come out and do my side. So I'm going to finish clipping all the way around and we'll go back to the machine. Now we're going to start right here at our green clip, so I'm going to take it off, and then remember we're using the outside edge of our foot as our full seam allowance. And then we're just going to go all the way around and stop at that red clip. When I come to these seams that I pressed open, I just want to make sure that this side lays flat and doesn't flip up on me. Because if it flips up, then it will create that bulk that I'm trying to eliminate. So I just want to go kind of slow and make sure it stays in the right spot. Again, when I get to my corners, I'm going to leave my needle down, lift my presser foot, rotate my project, and keep going. Now I'm coming close to my other pocket on my other side, so I can't see that on top, but I can feel it. So I just want to make sure that I can feel that that seam allowance is open and nice and flat. So you just want to be mindful of that when you get to that point. And then when I get to my red clip, I'm going to take it off, put my finger there, and just remind myself where I need to stop. Now we'll go back to the mat and turn it right side out. Now we've put our placemat together, and before I turn mine right side out, there's a couple of things I like to do. I like to check and make sure that I've got all my seam allowances caught. And then on this project, I want to make sure that those seams that we pressed open were caught laying flat, not flipped over. Then before we turn, We always want to reduce the bulk in the corners, especially on something like this, because we have multiple layers of fabric we're going through. So we want to cut on the diagonal just a little bit, making sure that we don't cut our stitching line. And we're going to do that on all 4 corners. Then we're going to find our opening, and we're going to turn it right side out. And we're going to use our chopstick to poke our corners out. And you just want to do that gently. Again, you've got a lot of bulk there, but just to make sure you don't rip out any of your stitching. Then I like to take my seams, once I've got it turned, and I just gently roll them, and that makes them lay flat before I press it, and that just makes everything lay a little nicer, so when I top stitch this, I don't have something that goes to the wrong side. And I'm just rolling it in my fingers, and that makes that seam kind of pop to the top. Then I'm going to press it really well. So I want to make sure that my fall side stays on its side where it's supposed to, and the same thing for my Christmas. And then here's my opening, and when I get there and iron it, I just want to make sure that fabric folds in a little bit so that when I top stitch it, it will close that opening for me. Then when we go to the machine, we're going to top stitch all the way around. One of our goals is to close this opening, but then the next thing we're going to do is we are going to stitch right down next to this seam where our pocket is. And the reason for that is to secure the front and the back together so that when you washed this in the washing machine, then these fabrics wouldn't go sideways on you. So if you secure it here, and we'll do it on both sides, and here, then when you wash it, that fabric will stay in place and nice and neat. So let's go back to the machine. Now we're going to top stitch. So again, I'm going to use the inside edge of my foot, and I'm starting just above where my opening begins. And I'm going to go all the way around. When I get to the bottom where the bottom of my pocket is, that corner, there is a lot of bulk and fabric there. So I'm going to leave my needle down. I need to go one more stitch, it looks like. Turn my project, and then I'm going to hand crank this and kind of give it what I call a little bit of encouragement, because it is so much bulk, the machine kind of struggles there. So and you can feel it when you get past that bulk, and then you can keep going. And then coming this direction, you just want to make sure that that top of the pocket stays flat and doesn't fold back on you. So when you come up to that pocket, just make sure the top gets underneath your presser foot. And it should stay right where it needs to. And then here's my other bulky corner. So I'm going to lift my presser foot and rotate, and then I'm going to hand crank and just kind of gently push it a little bit just to get past that bulk. And then here's my opening. I'm going to cross that stitching just a little bit and back stitch. Then the last thing we're going to do again is we're going to stitch right down this seam so that we just secure our front and our back together. So I'm going to start right on that seam. I'm going to stitch a little bit and then back stitch to secure it. And I'm going to stay as close to that seam as possible. And then I'm going to back stitch here at the end to secure it. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this pocket. And our project is complete. I hope you liked today's project, the reversible placemat with a pocket for your silverware. And also, I really would like to thank those that have subscribed. And if you are a subscriber, be sure you share that with your friends because it really does help our channel. And a special thanks to our Patreon members, the ones that are paid and free. It really does help us bring more content to you. So, see you in the next one.